Check, 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 check.
Check 1 2, check 1 2, check 1 2.
You sound good. Every time I jump on a mic, I just want to start rapping. But I know that I'm not good.
I've never rapped before. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the studio, Casper Alexander.
How's it going? How's it going?
Peoria native.
Peoria native.
Chicago currently.
Yes.
World traveler as well.
I would like to say that, yes. we're currently in the States, but when COVID lifts or something, we'll be trying to get out of the country.
Nice. Man. So to take it back a couple of years, Casper and I went to the same college, Monmouth College.
Good old Monmouth.
Middle of a cornfield.
Roll Scott.
Center of your heart.
Yes. Yes.
I remember you back in school. We didn't really know each other, but I knew you wore a ton of purple, didn't you?
Yes. I had that was like my whole brand.
That was your whole vibe.
That was my whole vibe. I still love purple. As I guess I got a little bit on today though. Purple was like my branding thing, and I didn't even really at the time even think about it. I just
as a brand.
It was just like my favorite color.
Yeah. And you performed at like local music venues in Monmouth during college, right?
Yes. Yeah. After Dark was one of the spots. It was really dope. It was like a different experience being in such a small town, and then we ended up being able to like sell out a venue that held like 300. You know, like to be able to sell that out and have all like the college kids come, the kids from around the city from like Monmouth and Galesburg to come travel and just come to the show. It was really cool.
For sure.
And then being like 19. I was like 19 at the time, so I was just like, feeling good about myself. And so it's cool.
It takes a lot of courage to do that on stage at 19 years old, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that, I started when I was 15. So my first show was at like 16 years old. And
seriously?
Yeah, and we had a sold out show in Peoria. So it was really, I think that was my first. I thought I was going to be nervous. Like before we were practicing, doing everything, I was like, man, I'm going to be so nervous. And once we got up there, it's so like easy. And I think it just felt natural. It just felt like a thing, so.
For sure. So you got your start in music before you were 15. Did you take it back for me to like your childhood? Was there always something that you latched onto that kind of got you started to be interested in music? Was it your family? Was it friends? Was it music influences?
I think that I think that because we come from a time where we really were starting to be like in front of the TV a lot in a sense. I never really like thought about it this way, so it's just kind of like off the head, but I think because we were in front of the TV, we would just see it, and you just like, dang, I want to be on there, right? Like I didn't know that I wanted to be on there consciously, but I think the subconscious kind of put me there. And my sister, she told me when I was young, I used to like try to like fix radios, just do little weird stuff as a like 4 or 5 year old. So I don't think I really started. For some reason, I don't know what reason or why, but I just like, I want to rap. And I think I like listen to Jay-Z a lot and stuff like that. So he would be an artist that kind of like opened my mind up to want to do it. And I think I wrote my first like song when I was like 11 or 12. It was Trash Money Records. I'm sure it was trash, but it was probably really great for an 11-year-old because I did understand English enough as an 11-year-old to rhyme.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think it was the greatest, but it wasn't the worst.
You know what I find is like a kind of a sad reality about our current situation with the internet and being online, TikTok and YouTube, all that stuff, is I saw a quote that said, kids will never know what it's like to be bored and to do things because they're bored.
Yeah.
And some of the coolest memories that I have with some of my friends who were just bored, just messing around and whatever the case, and you discover a passion or something else you really like, and you're like, okay, actually I really like this.
That's true.
Otherwise we just get on our phone and watch YouTube or get online, whatever.
Yeah, I have to catch myself a little bit sometimes where you just be like, I'm bored. Like I don't get bored too often because I have a lot going on, but if I'm just sitting at home, I'm just like, if I'm not watching TV, I'll just like be on my phone. I'm like, well, I could be doing something else. I know there's something, but then most of my work comes from my phone, so it's like, I can't get away from the technology.
Seriously?
Yeah, so but I do remember doing just dumb stuff because we were bored as a kid. I never broke a bone or anything, thank you God, but I definitely could recall like just like playing football and just like no pads, just slamming each other. Like we were just rough, like we were just rough kids that didn't care.
Right.
It's different.
Right. Different age. So you now, I was just talking off camera a little bit but for everybody listening, what do you do for a living?
So I guess I want to just call myself like a creative entrepreneur, but that has an umbrella of being an entrepreneur within like the apparel industry. That would be me, songwriting, recording artist, poet, actor, brand and marketing consultant. I think I hit all the points. Yeah. So that's basically, it's a combination of all that.
Yeah. And a lot of those tie in with each other, right? There's pretty much no artist out there that doesn't have some kind of brand or clothing or something right nowadays. So it all kind of ties into the same. Mm-hmm. You're essentially somebody who sees an artist and develops an umbrella of things for them.
Yes. I feel like a lot of artists don't understand branding in itself. I wouldn't say that like I always thought about branding when I first started, you know?
Yeah.
But now I'm just, because I went to school for marketing, it kind of helped me learn so much about that side of just the world, and then putting it into music, understanding like how to like just market a song when it comes out and building something around that. So, I mean, it's just really it's all tied itself in together, and all aspects lets me be creative. So that's why I was like, I kind of chose like a creative entrepreneur.
Sure.
I get to be creative in all those aspects.
Yes. I find the same, man. I've always been an artist, and for roofing companies in general.
It's art, actually.
You know,
really
roofing,
art.
putting on the product is art for sure, but also just from the branding side, like I love merchandise.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's you know how it feels to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. Your brand is called Love Yourself, right?
Yes, I Love Myself Clothing.
Love Myself Clothing. Mm-hmm. Explain to me how that came about.
So there's there's like 3 brands. There's just like my CHI Songwriter brand, which would come from just like the music, just my logo, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
There's the I Heart To clothing, which is something I haven't like pushed that name a lot, so like a lot of people don't know that name, so I haven't pushed it a lot.
It's called I Heart To.
I Heart To, like I like EYE Heart 2,
got it.
Like the number 2. So
I see.
Yeah, so it's kind of just messing around and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Love Myself Clothing, though, that came. I had a EP called Love Myself, and I wrote it when I was living in Atlanta, and it was just like a time where I had to really be not alone, but kind of alone, and I got to really like think about like myself and how I relate to the world, and how am I seeing the world? How is that going into an introspect for myself?
Yes. And
I just made that project, and then we went on tour, and I had shirts just for merch, you know?
Yeah.
And then about, I want to say, right before COVID, actually. It was like COVID hadn't hit yet, so I didn't know it was coming. But I was like, well, I want to start selling clothing again. I need to get back into that. And so I just started the line, and just from there, it just kind of has been, there's so many options that people have just been buying, and I was like, wow, it took off. Because when we did the tour, we would sell out of the shirts, and I was like, dang, this brand, they must really like what they see, and they like the message. And so then I never had anything behind it. It was just a shirt, and I was like, well, this is maybe a business. So I started building the identity of it, the brand identity, and just kind of building that and the business plan and such.
For sure, it's not everybody's going to listen to your music. Not everybody's going to buy a roof.
Right.
But most everybody will support a T-shirt.
Yeah.
You know, if given the option to buy something to support you, if they don't, you know, they're going to support that and wear it to bed or whatever the case. It's kind of cool to do that, because then it's brand recognition, and you never know what you might sell from that T-shirt 3 years from now with somebody wearing that same thing. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's very true.
It's kind of powerful.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think about it. When someone buys a shirt and they're just like, oh man, I love this and blah blah blah, and it's like someone else will ask them like, where'd you get the shirt? And they'll reach out to me like, hey, blah blah blah, say the shirt, or they'll see me posting it, or whatever the case may be. But then some people may not know I do anything else but the clothing.
For sure.
So it's kind of interesting to see that once they kind of go on the website and then they kind of see everything that flows from there. That's where it builds at. So I know that they all have, it's like a web, and they all, it's, you know, Charlotte's Web. So everyone just kind of ends up finding that middle.
Exactly.
And that's me. I'm the middle, I guess.
There you go. You try to create the middle, and then exactly, that's marketing. So if you were Take me back 10 years. You're how old now, Casper?
29.
29. Did you see yourself at 29 when you were 19? Did you see where you're at right now when you were 19?
I think because of college, I always thought about like the 5-year, 10-year type thing.
Yeah.
You know, like they really did kind of like push that into you. You know, I mean, even in high school, I think that there was times I thought about it. I didn't think that I would be as aware of things as I am.
What do you mean by that?
I just think that I'm very like I knew I was a people person, but I think that like I've been blessed to have this ability with people to just kind of like know. And I was talking about marketing and understanding like the psychology of it. And like a lot of people don't understand that there's psychology behind everything.
Yes.
And when you know people, you can market. You can
Yes.
brand. That's all it really is, right?
Yes.
And so I didn't really see necessarily what I would be doing from 19 to now, but I definitely had a feeling I would want to be doing something that I wouldn't want to be working for no one else. That was always a thought. Like 18, I was a business major, so I knew that I didn't want to work for nobody. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a blessing. It's like you have a vision and your visions come true. So it's kind of nice.
It is. It's and it doesn't come without hard work. That's for dang sure.
Yeah.
You kind of think that in the beginning, you're like, oh, it's gonna be easy. I'll just do this, and then you find out that like when you actually go out on your own and you don't have a paycheck and you've got to scrap together all your stuff and just make it work, it's not easy.
No, it's not. And I've always like been like a waiter. That's really the only other jobs I really had.
What restaurants have you worked at in Peoria here?
Steak and Shake. And,
Shout out.
And I worked there for like 6 years.
Did you really?
Yeah, I was like a vet there, boy. Like I was a lot of people's favorite server. And then
Which one? East Peoria or Peoria?
I worked at the one in out on not Grand Prairie. Yeah, I worked at Grand Prairie and I worked at the one out by off of University, like all the way out in University.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I worked at those too, and I mean, you know, it's
that
cool.
one's closed down now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I left and then they closed it. No, I'm just joking. I just went.
Shout out to
Yeah, I was just thinking.
I love your fries.
Yeah, and so I worked there for a while, and then I also worked at Buffalo Wild Wings in East Peoria, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And from that point, I was like,
What
am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, and something sparked and slapped me pretty much and said, so you're gonna let COVID control you? You're gonna let these jobs tell you you can't work? So now what are you gonna do? How are you gonna make money? So
Yes.
then that's where the entrepreneur in me was like, dude, you have these talents or you have these thoughts or you have these ideas, do it.
Yep.
Do it. You've been trying it and you've been giving these jobs all your time and giving yourself time too, you know, but now here's 40 extra hours for you. What are you gonna do?
That's right. It's amazing. Somebody said, there's like a quote that said, everybody's at the same 40 hours or however many hours are in a week. Or is it 24 times 7? A lot.
One. Let me not. I'm not going to verify some of the math. I have that meme. I think I have that like that in my phone somewhere. So
yes, everybody's at the same 24 hours, but how we choose it and how effective we are is completely dependent on us. And I think we get stuck in these kind of patterns sometimes. I lost my job due to COVID as well. I was doing okay before COVID, but then when COVID hit, I fell into the unemployment. I fell into that same mentality, and I became very demotivated to do anything.
Yeah.
You know? You know how that feels when you're just like low on life?
Yeah, I think that I actually I'm not really big on the idea of like saying I'm depressed or something like that, right? But I think like once or twice a year, I'll get this just like, oh man, like I'm not good enough, blah, blah, blah. And I think that being in quarantine was like, oh, here, let me give you this. Like I know, and I sat there and I felt those times where you're just like, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
I'm not, what am I doing? You know, like you're just sad and down on yourself. So I've experienced it.
Yes.
But luckily, being a positive person, because you have the same energy, like pretty positive energy.
Yeah.
So you can fight your way out of it.
Yes.
And it's nice. Like it's easy and you're gone and, you know, it's a blessing, right? Mm-hmm. So I've had those experiences and I'm blessed to say that I don't get stuck in them too often.
Mm-hmm.
I love doing what I'm doing.
Yes.
You know, I love to just create. It's just so fun.
Yes. I moved from retail. I worked at Verizon for like 3.5 years with some really good friends, and then moved into construction sales after that. Been in that ever since like 2016, 17. And I worked with people every day at Verizon. I came in, worked like 6 or 7, 8 people all the time. Then when I went into construction sales, I was by myself.
Oh yeah.
Almost always.
That's a switch up.
Big switch up. It was a major career change for me, and I didn't realize how much I'd miss being with people.
The interaction.
That's it, man. And I was meeting with customers for like 45 minutes to an hour, and then I get in my car and then drive for an hour. A lot of downtime, and I found out like, man, that's a depressing thing for me.
Yeah,
you and I
you're
are
a people
person.
Yeah.
And like I was telling Casper before we started this interview, I'm like, man, I've been kind of having just a busy day, just doing my thing. I walked in, I'm a little bit tired, beat down, and then right when you walked in, I'm like, you know what, bro? We in this.
That's what I like to do.
That's it.
Bring that aura. I feel you there. I think like I was thinking about with like being a waiter. It's such like it's basically like being an entrepreneur. Even though you get a little, but you have to work hard.
Yes.
If you don't work hard, you don't take tables, you don't make money.
Exactly.
You might get your little check, but like that check doesn't pay bills.
Can't
you know
change
what
it,
I'm saying?
yeah.
So you have to go out there and hustle, and that's why I think that people who are in that industry, they just have a hustle about themselves.
Yes.
Like there's bartenders and there's waiters out there who just kill it. They're making like $1,000 in a day, and you're just like, you know what? Like I don't think I need the other job, but the dealing with people side of it, when it's in the food industry for sure, is not fun because you get so many like assholes basically that, you know, they may be having a bad day and they come and take it out on you, like, and then you just like, you know, you're not allowed to like say anything back. So I was like, my personality does not rock with that. I don't know how I did it for 6 years. I think it's just because like I have the ability to let stuff bounce off me.
Right.
And at the same time, I'd be like, I don't think they know who they talking to. Like, hold on, like, who is you talking to? Like, you know what I'm saying? I was switching up on them real quick, like. But no, really though, it's like, it's definitely an idea of being an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? So it's really cool.
It is. I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always thought about ideas. I was like, what do you think we can make money with this? Do you think we can do this? And I've never had a disbelief in myself past. I've always thought like I can learn that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Same.
Like a constant belief. I'm like, maybe not. It's got to be interesting to me. But if I really pour into it, I could probably learn how to do it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you feel the same way?
I do feel the same way. I honestly feel as if when I was growing up, I was on I think I was probably from like 6 to about 9 or 10. I was on Ritalin. So I was told I had ADHD.
Is that just like Adderall?
Yeah, basically it's just like Adderall or whatever. So I was really like, it helped me focus. Yeah. And I think that as an entrepreneur, I'm happy I don't take that because it helps me not be like, I want to be over here and over here and over here, because that's how my mind works that way. Yes. So as an entrepreneur, you're not just sitting there like, I'm the accountant, you know what I mean? I'm the content creator. I'm the one who's doing sales. I'm the one who's coming up with like everything is just everything, right? So I think that's like fun. And I was talking with one of my business partners, and I was like, man, I'm about to start hiring people, and I'm gonna start building these different like entities and blah, blah, blah. But I was like, I also know I cannot help but be hands-on. I just can't help it. Like I'm passionate about whatever I'm working on, whether it's music or if it's in other realms. I just know that I want to, hey, here's a good idea. Whether it works or not, I just like to like brainstorm with people and create. Same.
Like you talk about the Charlotte's Web.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm the same way with this business and with any business. Like really branding and marketing, it's kind of just looking at the problems and then seeing a solution, and then seeing the solution and branding it in a way that people would understand on the other side. Yeah. Very quickly. Yeah. Right? Yeah. When you think about the word,
I like how you said that. Yes.
Right? That was really good.
That was good.
But branding is all about basically creating a solution to a problem that people might not know about, in a way that's super digestible. And if you can do that over and over and over, you create a recognizable image that solves people's problems. Basically, because that's what everybody's looking to buy something, right? Go online, I got a problem. I'm going to type in roofing company. I'm going to type in, I need help with branding my business. I need help with music production. That's a problem they have, right? So how are they going to find a solution? Casper Alexander's your boy. I got you. I think that I think about that in a way where
there's a lot of like, when you create a business, a lot of times there's two routes you have to see it. You want to see it as like, I'm passionate about this. This is something that I want to do. And also, is this going to solve someone's problem?
There you go.
And a lot of people don't. Some people, their businesses do probably fail because they don't think about the customer. They just think about, well, I'm really passionate about it.
Yes.
But business is about passion, but business is also about solving problems.
Exactly.
And the easier that you can solve a problem, basically the more money you can make.
That's right.
Especially when you figure out how to market it and get it out there.
Bam.
Like, but people, I mean, I know people who have, like, just from going through my, just doing like the brand and marketing consulting, I get a chance to sit here and talk to people with businesses and like, this is like so dope. Like, I wish I would have thought of this. But here's some great ideas so people can know that you're out here.
That's exactly right.
Because that's it. We can't buy anything if I don't know you're there.
Dude, that speaks to something I was just thinking about this last week, Casper. In the construction industry, guys who typically swing a hammer to a nail know how to swing a hammer to a nail.
Right.
They don't know how to do marketing, branding, the business side of things. That's not every one of them. There's a lot of guys out there that are absolutely dominating the roofing game. What I'm trying to say is, if you are the best roofer in the world, let's take roofing specifically. If you're the best roofer in the world, but nobody knows your name, are you the best roofer in the world?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If a tree falls down in the forest, nobody hears it. Is it still a sound? It's that same principle. It's like, if nobody knows you're out there to be contacted to do the roof, are you really the best? We don't know.
That's true.
Because we really don't know. Somebody out there could be a mediocre roofer, but if they're really, really, really good at branding and marketing, everybody sees them as the best.
Yeah, and I think, well, I come from one of the most egotistical industries, so it's all about, it's so very self-promoted. It's very, I am the best at what I do.
Yes.
And they can have one play. You know, they don't care, but I'm better than everyone else, and it doesn't matter if people heard me, I'm the best, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Like, but in reality, if no one's heard you, they can't give you that true crown. And also, you're not the best if others aren't saying it.
Bam.
You know what I mean? Because it's opinion. It's all opinion. It's all opinion. Like,
no different than who's the rapper out there that with the, I'm not talking about that guy, with the rainbow hair, Tekashi 6.
Oh, 6.
Who's the other guy who did this song? That's
Pump.
like, that's it.
Yeah,
that's it. You know where I was going.
Yeah, because it's another like
the
marketing.
worst rapper.
Not that great of a rapper, but he actually low key changed the rap industry on accident. He made a song that was
like 2.5 minutes long.
Yeah, it was like maybe like it was like 2 minutes or something. And
Yeah.
now if you actually go and look, a lot of, and I can't actually like lie, I can't count about it either, because like a lot of, I've switched some of my format where it's like, oh, you need like 2 minutes because people's attention spans are getting so short anyway.
Good point, Casper. You don't need 2, 3, 4 hooks. You just need a couple songs, a good beat, and I'll just replay that.
Yeah, and people get old. Like the world's moving so fast where you think about where we come from. You would be like, okay, I'm about to go buy this CD, or even if it's a tape or whatever it is, I'm gonna have to go and get to the store. Hopefully it's not sold out. Okay, all right, it's sold out. I can download it online. I got LimeWire, I got whatever little things, but I gotta wait till it downloads. Yep. I got it, boom, boom. Now all you gotta do is
right there.
Got it.
Yep.
It takes a search.
It does.
To get any song that you want to find. So you get so much stuff coming at you now that you can't, how do you get through all the fog?
And not to mention, when you do get through, by the time you really make it, a month later, guess what? You're old news.
Yeah, you're old news.
You gotta keep on creating.
You gotta keep creating. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think, I would say for me, to be honest with myself, I think my weakness is that I don't put a lot of new music out, if we're talking the music side, because I do so much.
Yes. And
at the same time where I can kind of like, well, if I only have 2,000 plays on this, or if I have 20,000 on this, there's still 80,000 more people I can get to. There's still 1 million more people I can get to. So, because there's a lot of songs that come out and they end up taking 2-3 years to even get any recognition. There's songs now. And obviously these are bigger names, so it kind of has a difference. But you look at R.I.P. DMX, but you look at someone like DMX, he did big numbers way back then, right? But now, like one of his songs it did like 50 million streams over a certain time period. Like just since he's passed, like just grew all these new streams, because I mean it's obviously for the reason why. Yeah. But it's just that mindset to think that like. Something could be so irrelevant. Yes. And I'm not saying like as that in a bad way, but he technically was kind of irrelevant as far as like his artistry, where people weren't talking about it as much.
Sure.
Does that mean people weren't listening? That doesn't mean that, but you weren't hearing DMX as a household name. And then sadly, this comes up. It happens. He gets streams. But where I'm getting to is that those songs are from the 90s. Wow. Early 2000s.
Yeah, 30 years ago,
and
20 years ago.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, so it's like...
he created one thing one time, 25 years ago, now it's relevant again.
And it's relevant again. Yeah. And it's just very interesting. I mean, we know that based off of Michael Jackson, Prince, like people like that, you still hear their music till this day, and their names are still relevant.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
So take it back to even modern day, or not modern day, but art.
Yeah.
Like paintings.
Oh my God.
How many painters were not even famous when they were alive, and then all of a sudden blew up after they were died, years after.
That kind of bothers me, because it's just like, oh man, I don't want to like. But and at the same time, you know, when you're creative and you put art out, that's kind of the goal, is to make it timeless. I want it to go on forever. I want my message to be known. I want your kids to talk about me.
If you were to fast forward 10 years from now, you're 39 years old. What would you like to be known for in the next 10 years? You said you're all about 5 or 10 year plans. It's kind of instilled you in mind with 5 to 10 years from now.
Well, that's a good question. I love this.
What is the one thing, if people were to think of Casper Alexander, Love Myself Clothing, whatever brand you're representing?
I think just overall, just having a positive, just having a positive vibe about yourself. Just like it's as basic as it sounds. I really do. Through everything that I put out, I really push positivity, and I'll switch the words. Let's not even use push. I really promote positivity, and I promote just being having self-love and just really believing in self. Because I think those are my two most important things, is just to kind of like try to be positive to others, try to put out good energy to others. Are we perfect? No. Are there people out there that probably don't like me and I didn't give them a positive thing? Yeah. Sure. But, you know, I know my overall goal is to just be good, because I know that's who I am. You know what I mean? I make mistakes. That's what it is. So that's why it's all part of like the self-love thing, is because you have to take in that I am not perfect. I will never be perfect. I will never do anything perfect. Yeah. But I'm still me, and I'm okay with it. And if if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Yeah. But don't let those don'ts or the do's validate yourself. Yes. And your own self-love. So that's what I kind of want to push. Just a positive. I think that I want to be known for that. Is that idea of being positive and having that self-love.
I really identify with that message, Casper, because 2020 was the year in my mind that really like changed my life. Not only for this business, but I got divorced in 2019, and when 2020 came along, social media, we oftentimes can create an arc or a story about our lives that's perfect. Yeah. Because you only want to produce the content that's good. Yeah. And when I came to and I really found out like some flaws about myself, I was like, this perfect circle that I've built for myself, I want to destroy it. Because guess what? That's where realness lies. Yeah. Yeah. And when you get really raw and real with yourself and real with God, like it became something that I was addicted to, that I was like, I want to find out more about what I'm not good at. So I can really expose myself, because I think in the times of social media, it's so easy to look at your Instagram squares and your profile pictures. You know what I'm saying?
Squares.
You know what I'm saying?
I love the wording.
You can look at your life like a painting and be like, this is just the perfect, 9 to 12 pictures. And it's like, wait a second. Like the sadness that you saw in Atlanta, the sadness that I dealt with last year. It's like, I want to start putting out content that's really real. Right. And when you start to do that, and then love yourself through it, people will be like, that's what I've been looking for. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I think because we always constantly compare ourselves to one another through social media. Yeah. But we're always constantly comparing the perfectness versus the perfectness. And it's like, actually, if you get just below surface level and get to the raw and real, a lot of us had that moment. Yeah. Or are still having those moments. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
I think that, and if, I do think that, I kind of looked at COVID as like, and just the whole process as like a cleansing. Whether it was for a positive or negative, it was just a cleansing. It's sad. It's very sad that people passed away, and there's still people, being sick and passing away to this day. And that's like it's such a sad thing. But it's like that. But if you're going in the higher level of thinking about it, it's a virus that's just taking over your body. It's taking over the world, and it's weaving things in and out. And so a lot of us lost something.
Yes.
Somehow, some way, we all lost something.
That's right.
So we have that connectedness, and we get to remember,
That's a good point.
We're all one.
That's a good point, dude. and we all lost, like, George Floyd together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's
like the whole world. It wasn't just George Floyd. George Floyd, rest in peace, like that situation. But the whole world collectively saw that. All at the same time. Yeah. And everybody saw the grotesqueness and the gruesomeness of that thing. It's like, you know what I'm saying?
Just for us to even be able to see stuff like that,
Crazy.
that blows my mind. It's on live, Facebook Live, whatever, and you can just watch someone die. I've literally seen 4 or 5 people dead on social media. Yeah. Like, not like I was looking for it, not like it was people I knew. It was like just that these bigger people, like XXX, the rapper, I think he got shot. Yeah. They showed show him dead in a car. Like, why? I don't understand it. But so when the whole George Floyd thing happened, I was in Atlanta, and it was just crazy. And then all the protests and everything started, and I actually got to be part of the protest, and that was, I think that was a big change in my life too, because I've never, I have always been about people growing as a whole, and like I want the world to be better and blah blah blah, right? But I've never actually went out in that type of movement. I got to be, I really felt like, wow, I'm part of history, and all these people are serious. This isn't something that people are out here joking about. This is serious, and like everyone wants change, and it definitely opened my eyes to know like I can do more. As myself, and I can do more with others, and just really open my mind more for collaboration for everything. Because I'm I talk pretty well, and I'm pretty articulate, and I'm outgoing and things like that. But I'm actually very I don't really want to talk about. I don't really want to. I'm what they would call an ambivert. I'm right in the middle. I'm right in the middle, right? So I've learned that about myself and respect that about myself. So when I go into a room, I'm not one that's gonna start the conversations. But if you come and talk to me, and then you have an aura about yourself that I want to talk about, we'll probably have an amazing conversation. Sure. But if I'm not vibing with you, I'm kind of like, but some people can just talk to any and everybody about anything and everything and love it. And I'm just it's not for me, bud. So but
I can definitely I can talk to anyone, especially being from retail and the sales. You just kind of learn to hit on certain things. Do I want to do that? Am I really real in that moment? Probably not. Yeah. And that's kind of like the whole, I've seen these videos before, I call it the sales voice or your retail voice. Oh, yeah. You ever seen those before? Yeah. It's tough sometimes to differentiate, much like it is on social media, to differentiate the reality from the realness, or from the fake versus the real. Same thing with your stepping off from your work voice or your work, what you're forced into the box that you have. Yeah. Versus, and you always want to be the same regardless, but there's always that kind of friends. You don't speak to your grandmother the same way you speak to your best friends, right? No. There's always a delineation of something. And it's always trying to really find out, okay, what is real, what is not? Am I being truly myself in this moment? Or am I trying to put on a front to this person versus the other?
You're really bringing out some of my mama's college thoughts, because when I was in school, I actually did this, I wrote a paper on this theory called face work. And so face work is pretty much what you're saying, is that when you're getting in different situations, you just change your face. And my question to that was, is face work being fake?
Is it fake?
That was my question, right? Exactly. And I just kind of studied, and I thought about it, and I was like, well, yeah, you can't. I can't walk in one room. Some rooms I have to kind of switch up a little bit. I can't go into a business meeting acting the same way as I'm gonna act when I'm out drinking with my friends. Sure. You know what I mean? I can't, like you said, I can't speak to my grandma or my mom the same way I'm gonna speak to my friends, or et cetera. So things of that nature. So I just thought of it as we are human and we have all these different emotions and different facets of who we are.
Right.
So you're just giving pieces at certain times.
Yes.
But I think that some people, I don't really like extremists. So if you're like about something, it just doesn't, like, it's a different, like, I'm passionate about the things I do. I'm big into what I do, but I'm not like, oh, you don't make music, you suck at being a person. Like you know how people are, like, when they really care about something, like, they're just one side, and like, oh, you don't do my side and you don't believe in what I'm saying, then you're in the wrong place. So I'm like, really, like, so because I know in reality you have more to you. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, that's just so one-dimensional, right?
Yes, it is.
So if I'm, I guess, so if I, let me put it into like a Black community idea. Mm-hmm. So we had this idea called code switching, right? So code switching is pretty much what you're talking about with face work, where like I might like use a lot more slang with my friends, like talking like blah blah. But when I go into a meeting, I got, hey, how are you guys doing?
Sure.
Yes, I would love to.
Or you're a steak and shake.
Yeah, or even a steak and shake, yeah. But if it's my friends that I'm doing service for, I'm like, what's good with y'all? How y'all doing? Exactly. You know, I could talk to them like that. But if it's like some older person, I'm like, hey, how are you? What can I get for you today? You know, make them feel at home and comfortable. But if I came to them like more of like a young kid vibe, they might be like, oh, this kid's uneducated, but it's a difference. You know, being Black is a lot different. It's even more different. And I have dreads. I have like I don't like. Obviously, I really know that the world shouldn't be like that. So I'm very comfortable with who I am. Right. But I always thought about it. Like when I started growing my hair, and I was like, I'm probably not gonna be able to get the jobs I want to get. I'm probably not gonna be. But then I was like, fuck them. Like, if you telling me, if you don't think that I'm gonna walk in here with a bachelor's degree from Western Illinois University, a decent school, you know, I know marketing. I've proven I've done it for myself, which is the hardest thing to do. Yes, you know, that's a lot harder. That's easy to market for someone else because you don't have this personal hold to it, right? Yeah,
it's not your baby.
It's not my baby, right? So I don't care about your kid. You know what I'm saying? Fuck them kids. But
I love your kid, but not as much as my kid.
Yeah, I love my So
I'll babysit.
But you can have them back, right? So like, it made me think like, well, I'm not gonna really worry about this. I'm gonna be who I am. I'm not gonna let anyone dictate that. And also, I can give you parts of me, but if you're gonna judge me off of what you think I am, then I automatically don't want to work for you or work with you. I don't want to be your friend or be around you. So I'm okay with that. Right. And so I had to like put that in perspective, and then it's like even more. I was like, man, like starting this business and running is like, if someone doesn't, if I bring in a client and they're like, oh, you're the owner, and they're weird about it, then I don't want you as my client anyway. You know what I mean? So I haven't had those problems. Truthfully, I haven't had that problem. Right. But I do think that I felt like it may. And the thing is, the biggest problem about what I'm saying to you right now is that I have to be defensive that way, because it may not actually be that way all the time. Yeah. But it's been instilled. Right. And you know that there's the systematic stuff, and it's sad. And I'm not one to really push about and talk about like racism and push all those ideas too much, because I don't like I hear you. Hate, you know what I mean? Like I don't like hate, which is a weird sentence, but it's the truth, right? Yeah. So I just, if I know that you're not gonna like me because of my skin tone or the way I may speak when I'm around my friends or something like that, then I know I don't want to I don't even want to rock with you anyway. So I'm good with that. I'm automatically good with that. So
I think in your profession too, like you it's actually, I think, more of an advantage now for you having dreads and being a person of color in your industry, because you guys are the ones, not you guys, like Black people in artistry and in rap and in music are the ones influencing it the most, and in culture, right? Yeah. And so it probably gives you more of an advantage. Let's go back to code switching. I've fallen into this trap before too. I mean, as a white guy, as a middle class. Hello, my name's Ben.
Hey Ben, how are you?
Hey, how are you? It's good to see you.
You're great.
I play flag football. I've been playing for like 13 years, and a lot of my teammates are Black guys. Right. And they're from hard parts of the city. Right. And they're talking slang and they're having fun, and it's like, it's cool to me.
Right.
Like some of the stuff's not cool, like whatever, but they're just cool guys. And I fall into the trap of wanting to being influenced by that culture as well. And it's like that's code switching in a sense of like how I speak to them versus how I'd speak to my own friends.
Right, because you don't want to necessarily
I don't want to be a
like,
nerd.
I'm just some nerdy white guy. I got these cool black kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no, I got
you. Know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna be. Like,
I don't want to be fake.
I grew up in the Heights, man, and like being around majority. It's interesting to watch. It is interesting to watch how now we don't even got to go into a race. I think it's interesting to watch people go into a situation and act cooler than they are, right?
Yes.
And that's not a bad thing. Like cooler is just an idea. It's not real, right?
Right.
So you're just
their
like
perception of cool.
Your perception of cool.
You're stepping outside your own true box.
You know you've never done that or tried to be that, but you see it and you're like, oh, that looks. I want to try that. Like,
yes.
Let me try to like move that way or say these certain things. It's like and you can just it doesn't feel natural.
Yes.
And I think that's the vibe where it's like, oh, that's not really. Now, the key to code switching it. Truthfully it's for it to be natural. I can walk in a room and I can be very articulate and use proper English and people won't think anything different. And yes. I can also go into a room and break down slang or just be in different areas and speak the way just because it feels natural and it's like, but I'm not forcing you. You're not gonna sit there and be like, oh no, you don't really be acting like that. It's like you just, but it's just interesting, right? And I think that it's just funny, just that whole point of just you saying like, it's like I thought it was cool. Like, and so when I was going into races, I do think sometimes there will be you get the kids from these small towns that. Especially we use Chicago for example, man. There's so many kids from the suburbs who've never been in the South Side of Chicago, never been. But I learned that quick when I was going to Monmouth and Western. I didn't know much about Chicago besides being born there and having family there.
Right.
But they would be. You can just I'm from Chicago, because they knew it was cool to be from Chicago in their mind. But dude, you're from Naperville, dude.
Yeah, from Aurora.
You're from Aurora. You're straight, dude. You're from Joliet.
Right.
What are you talking about? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being where you're from, but it is interesting to watch. That's the idea of that's cool. I want to be that, and I'm going to pretend to be that so I can create this perception about myself. Which goes back to the squares on Instagram.
It's true.
Right.
I've fallen into that trap before for sure. And
I think we all do. I'm not saying we don't. I think we all do. I just think it's funny.
I think it's actually more important to actually self-realize what you're doing and to really understand who you are. Mm-hmm. And I think I was talking to my friend about this last year. This is something that's really interesting. I'm going to bring this up to you. I don't know your background, your family life, but I do know statistics of black families and white families, and increasingly, both sides, both white and black families, grow up without a father. Right. And I think it's 7 out of every 10 black kids grow up without a father. Right. And 4 out of every 10 white kids grow up without a father. Right. Not knowing or not being present in the home. And black people, just my perception of it, that don't have fathers in the picture are very close with their mother. Right. Right. It's like mama's boy, and it's like your mama, right? Right. And I think I was talking to my buddy about this, about how struggle invites closeness. Right. The struggle of pain and poverty and struggle invites you to actually enter into being super close, because it's like a war zone. Mm-hmm. If you're growing up poor and you don't have much and you're fighting for everything you got, but you have these other 2 people next to you fighting with you, you're going to get really close. Yeah, you got a team with you. You got a team with you. But if you grow up in an affluent white family and money is kind of just there, and you really don't have to worry about tomorrow and what it's going to bring. Right. It's just not as much struggle, and therefore you don't need to struggle together. You can almost separate in a way. And so I almost admire people that go through more struggle as childhood, because they're like really real with the people that grew up in the struggle with them. Right. You see what I'm saying? Right. And especially with black families that grew up without fathers. I know that's a deep subject. I don't want to get into some deep stuff, but the bond between a mother and a son or a daughter with that situation, I just feel like, man, sometimes I'm like, I told my buddy, I'm like, I wish I had more struggle sometimes. You know what I'm saying? No. Maybe not. But because it's like, that's the essence of life, is to really be known and know other people. I get you. I think I feel like there's like a couple things in there.
I come from like a foster home. Like
For real?
Yeah, when I was 4 months, I actually got put into a foster home, which ends up being my mom, who was my mom for my whole time of being a kid, right?
Wow.
And an adult. So she's who I know, and so I didn't come from having a father necessarily. I had an older brother who was basically like a father figure to me because he's so much older anyway.
Yeah.
And then just a different, like my mom's boyfriend was a real cool dude, and so I had like someone there, but they didn't live. It wasn't like living with me, so I was close to my mom and stuff like that. But
yeah.
I do think, truthfully, like I don't like the perception that we are pushed on, that there's an idea that if you are raised in a single parent home,
yeah.
that there's any type of difference. I think that we've been pushed. I think that, okay, so as a kid, if you walk into a room and you say like, all right, we're having a father-daughter dance, like, and that daughter doesn't have a father, yeah, it gets weird, it's awkward, because you don't have what others have.
Yeah.
But as a parent, I think you have to teach that it's okay. Like, you're not going to always have everything someone else has. Like, there's it is okay. Like, whatever our situation is, especially if you're blessed to be in a good situation with that one person too. So I don't really like that perception of just the world in general, but we just push it so hard.
Yeah. And
so then as it's being pushed hard and you're growing up, you're putting that into your kids, and it's just passed on generation, right?
For sure. It's more the idea.
It's the idea, right? So I think that, I feel like I've learned a lot. Mm-hmm. Now, if we're going to be speaking on like gender norms, no, I didn't learn how to like fix a car, but I'm not a laborer anyway.
Same.
Like, you would never like catch me on a roof. Yeah, I. No, I'm not fixing nothing. Like, that's what I paid. This is why we hit up roof tire. That's why we hit up roof tire. You know what I'm saying? But like, to be honest with you, that's just me. I don't think that really fully has anything to do with how I was raised, because I'm just a creative, so I like using my mind. Mm-hmm. That's just who I am anyway. Yes. So like, I don't think that would have had a difference with my upbringing from being in a single parent home. Mm-hmm. If I had a father there, would I probably have maybe learned that, depending on who the father was. If he does, like my mom's boyfriend, they were together for like 21 years, just never got married, but he used to fix his car all the time, but he never asked me if I wanted to come out there. I never wanted to. You know what I mean?
My room listening.
Like, I'm good. Like, that's not for me. Like, I'm rough. I'll go play sports.
For sure.
You know, like.
I guess the main point that I'm trying to say is that I think struggle, and I think this we can actually put this back to.
That's what I was going to get to.
That's okay. Struggle invites you to overcome things.
Yeah.
Especially as an entrepreneur, you got no boss to call. If a problem pops up with something,
it's on me.
It's on you. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when you're starting out, first year, second year, third year, you don't have it all figured out. There's no way you can.
Yeah.
So you're just literally treading water, trying to figure stuff out, calling people, hey, what do I do about this? How do I do this? How do I do this? And it's constant struggle that actually creates the hardness to actually take on more larger problems.
Yeah.
Problems that I used to have 6 months from the roofing industry, I know exactly what to do.
Because you had the experience.
That's exactly right. But there's more things that come up, and just that's where the growth comes in.
I got something for you.
Maybe 10 years in, I'll figure it out. But what I'm trying to say is the main thesis is entrepreneurs for sure, family life for sure, life.
Yeah.
Struggle invites patience, persistence. It invites you to actually become a better version of yourself.
Yeah, I enjoy. I don't. Two ways. I do enjoy and I don't enjoy adversity. I like facing adversity. I like being able to overcome adversity. It's interesting to me, right? It's fun. Like, oh, like, you can't do that. Oh, I can't. Watch this. You know, that's just kind of like my thing. And I do think that it's not necessarily good to struggle, but like, it is nice to be able to know how to struggle. So that's where I get where you're saying, like, I kind of wish I did struggle more, because then when you get 22, 25, like, and you don't have that person there, or even at 18, you don't have those people there to have your back. Oh, I've been here before. Yeah. I've struggled before. I've never not had someone have my back, maybe. Yeah. But I've been in this point where I've had to struggle, so I know how to face adversity. And I think that messes a lot of people up when they get put in a situation that they've never been in. Because I think it's fair, like, as a parent, I don't know how, with it not being like weird, but like, I think you have to teach your kids to be able to face adversity.
Yes.
No matter how well Because, I mean, my goal is I want my kids to come into a world and never have to understand money problems, never have to understand finance problems. But guess what? They're going to know how to work for it. I want to make sure I teach that. You know what I mean? I want them to be, they don't have to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to do anything I do. But you're going to know how to work for what you get. And that's what, like, my thing is. But what this quote I saw, I can't remember who said it, but I think you'll like. One day, you will pay me for my mistakes.
Love that.
Now, when I read that, I was like, that's so interesting because you go through so many hardships, whether it is through your business or through life and blah, blah, blah. Like, you kind of almost think about like a therapist. Like therapists, some of them are pretty messed up in their own head, right? But like like they're like whatever, but then they're go to school and learn, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure that there's some type of like, what it made you want to get into it because you want to learn about yourself. Right. You know, so like you're getting to learn about yourself, and now, well, I've experienced that without having to say that, and you can kind of help someone else through it. So true.
The thing, 2020 for sure, we all went through so much struggle together. Like we were talking about, the whole world was just doing a cleansing. We all worked through it, and it's like, it's going to be interesting to see what comes out of COVID year 5 years from now. What things were born out of it. I know my business was born out of it. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of personal struggle came through. I know other people that I've talked to. When COVID hit, it's like, okay, you can either roll over and give up, right, or you can restart and do something about it. Like you're talking about with your brand. It's like, you got a choice now. Mm-hmm. You're unemployed. What are you going to do? Hunger is a great motivator. Yeah. So you're hungry, you can't eat because you don't have any money. Therefore, you know, let's go do it. You were just speaking about something that it'll come back to me. When, you will pay me for my mistakes in the future. Mm-hmm. That is so true. I think think about how many motivational speakers are out there and what their stories are. It's the same kind of thing. Yeah. It's like, it's the arc of you were doing really well, you plateaued, you hit a peak, you went straight down, and you got back up and went up again. That's the stuff that people want to hear. They want to hear that. Right? Yeah. Because everybody, when they're down here, it's like, okay, what's gonna propel me to get back up and do this again? And as an entrepreneur, I'll keep going back to it. When you hit those low peaks, it's like you got nobody else on your team, in the very beginning, of course, to pick you back up. Mm-hmm. So you just have to build that steel resistance to, I'm doing it again. Yeah. I'm going to go willingly fail and look myself in the mirror and say, this is going to suck. But I got to stand up again. I think, well, I guess if you look at, statistics, there's a lot more people who are poor than there are people who are rich, right? Yes. Now the numbers of how much money, there's so much money out there, and that takes over. We don't got to get into that, right? But I think that when you're trying to tell your story and being true, if you look at someone who is, let's say okay, here's a question for you to think about. And I'm sure there's a couple out there, I just can't think right off the top of my head. Yeah. How many famous rappers, kids, do you know that's big? Good point. Because their story doesn't align. The arc's not the same. The arc's not the same. They don't have that story, that fan base, unless they can't go out and make struggle music because we know you didn't struggle. We know your dad was a millionaire. Yeah. So same thing with basketball. Well, athletes are a little bit different. There are some guys who came up in the ranks. Right? But they're the same thing. It's if you look at I don't know if he's even playing right now or not, but there's just different. I can't even really think of all the juniors off the top of my head. Okay, we could just actually use Steph. Sure. So Steph is so there's two things. You could look at Steph and be like, well, you definitely had good trainers. You definitely blah blah blah. But when he was in college, and I was just actually reading this yesterday, they didn't even think that he would even barely be in the NBA. Exactly. Now he's one of the best players. That's what you like to see. Yes. That makes a whole different story. His dad was who he was. Now you go and switch it. Now go look at Jordan's kids. Yeah. Hey, you're not as great as Jordan, so it's hard. They didn't make it. They did what they did now. Are they probably doing well? Blah blah blah. Yeah. Sure. But those stories and those you don't I don't want to say you don't respect those people as much, as long as they're not trying to come off like they struggle. But it is hard if I'm chasing the same dream as you. That I walk in, and I go through if we go to acting, I'm going to every audition, blah 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 blah. But you're Denzel Washington's son.
oh, and I know he has kids that act, so I'm not actually saying against them personally.
Right.
But just using him as an example, oh, you can just walk into a room, oh, you're Dennis. Oh, that helps you off top,
sure.
So
name recognition.
So it kind of like it makes people. I don't believe in envy and jealousy, but like it's a 7 sense for a reason. People can't help but have them. They're naturally in you.
It's you're so right, and that's what I'm getting at, man. Is like the struggle creates something. Like LeBron James is a kid from Akron.
Yeah, Akron, Ohio.
Exactly.
What is that? Where is that?
Exactly. Kevin Durant. You
Yeah.
know, going back, thanked his mom. I think he was a single mom house. Came to the struggle with his mom. Winky Williams. He's a famous. I heard his story. He's a famous motivational speaker. Same thing. These guys who fought through so much. It's like you create such a thick alligator skin towards circumstances that I know what it feels like to be hungry. Therefore, I'm going to work this much harder to be this.
Right.
And when you have everything and you're just kind of kosher, it's like, what do you fight for? That's why I think the greatest generation, I mean, take it back 60, 70 years, when immigrants were coming into this country, they didn't even know the language.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Right? There's just a soup line, and you got to figure it out. So what did a lot of immigrants do? They started businesses. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about from all over the world, just came here and said, I'm this land of opportunity, I'm just going to start a business and see what happens. And they grow over 50 years. That's incredible, dude.
You know who my favorite people are? And I was thinking about it the other day. It's just like kids who are like 5 and 6 who are bilingual. Like,
yeah.
You get people who go to college and can barely learn Spanish or French or whatever, like Arabic, whatever you want to choose. They just, it's so interesting to me, and it's probably because the brain's developing and it's probably easier for them to take in so much information, right? Whatever science is behind that. But I just think that is always the most interesting thing to me. And I don't think that it gets enough credit in our country. Just because knowing when you're, in Africa, people know 3-4 languages.
Yes.
And it's normal. And I'm like,
India's the same way.
Yeah, it's like you just know so many languages, but it's so normal. But like here, it's like, oh, that's cool. Wow, you actually know another language. That's amazing. Like they're just like, that's a kudos. You know what I mean? That's a cookie. You know what I'm saying? So
it is. I just took some clothes over to a tailor that sews on patches, and he's Lebanese. There's a large Lebanese culture.
Especially if you're
And
shout out to the Gantos.
That's him.
For real?
Yeah.
I should have known. Yeah, that's my guy. Monir and Tony, like I've been cool. We've been cool.
What business do they own?
They're in the music.
Music, okay.
They're in LA, so we just know each other from all this music stuff. So they're good people.
I think this guy's name's Naeem Gantos. He's got a shop over there in a Lariat Club Steakhouse to put on patches. He's a tailor. I was talking to him today, and he very clearly had an accent. I said, "What's your first language?" He said, "I'm Lebanese. It's Arabic." He said, "I also speak French, and then I'm learning Italian." And I was like, that's incredible, man. Like, that's thinking in 3 different languages in your head at all times. That's just wild.
Yeah, I think my favorite, so another Monmouth College story.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I love Western. I think it was a different experience. I learned a lot there, but Monmouth, I had some really interesting experiences there. And I think maybe it's just that small school vibe. Maybe it's just
get to know people.
Just like it being a liberal arts school, maybe that was an addition to it. But I was in French, and I took like 6 years of French. I barely can remember because I don't practice it ever, right?
Right.
But I was pretty fluent. I was actually almost to the point of my teacher wanted me to be a major in French and have a business minor and go like that. Yeah, this is like some.
Comment allez-vous?
Yeah. See, look, I can't even think right now. You caught me off. Caught me off guard. I just lied to you. Look, you just caught me lying. No. I just. But what was I gonna say? But they had these people from Africa come over, and there were some people from the Cameroon, and I was talking to them. I used to like sit here and talk to this guy in French consistently over the computer. We would always talk, and then our point was we were teaching them English using French, and I was like, I use this, but I haven't actually even spoke French on a regular basis in almost 6 or 7 years. So I barely remember anything, and it's like, so it makes me upset because I'm like, I was so fluent, you know what I mean? It was just like insane to me, and I just look back and like, I can't really remember anything. And so the other day, this was like well, maybe this is actually during COVID. So we talk about COVID, right? During quarantine, I actually downloaded Duolingo. And I was trying to like relearn the language, and I was like, oh, I remember this stuff, but I remember it like seeing it, so I could like write it out, blah blah blah. But I couldn't remember the like how to speak it or like certain things. It's just like, dang, like I forgot how hard it was to actually learn this language because there's so many levels. You gotta learn how to write, speak, and hear it.
Yeah.
You know, and like my hardest thing was always hearing.
Mm-hmm.
I could not. It was so hard for me to like understand because my brain wouldn't process it fast enough.
Right.
But I can process writing. You know what I mean? Like that's, I don't know, maybe because I'm a writer.
Mm-hmm.
But I could just process that a lot easier than me sitting there and like if I see the word, I can write an answer. But when I hear it, I can't process as fast.
Sure.
So it kind of like was a hard thing, but here we are.
Here we are.
No French at all.
Let's get back to the business, Casper. And you said that in 10 years' time, you want to be known as somebody who essentially brings good vibes.
Basically.
Somebody who loves yourself, but also promotes that to other people.
Yeah.
Is that something that was born from a specific event, or is that something you grew into over your 20s, or is that something you've always kind of latched onto as a kid? Like, where did that come from?
From like I would say literally from writing that project, that I Love Myself EP, was what really opened my mind up to how I wanted to come out, how I wanted to be in the world.
Did you feel like at that point you did not love yourself?
I wouldn't even necessarily say I didn't love myself. I think that I had a lot of struggles that I battled with from being a kid. And so we talk about like all trying to be cool. Like I kind of think back to like I wanted to fit in. I wanted to fit in so bad. And I was like, and maybe it also comes from me going to a majority white school, predominantly white school, and I was just like, you know, so it's hard. I'm not like we're not the same necessarily because we don't maybe have the same culture, but like now I'm here and this and that, and I've always had some type of like someone either being racist to me or someone making fun of my name and like certain things I couldn't really control.
Yeah.
And so, when I say like I really had like, I don't want to say I didn't love myself, but I had wanted to change so many things that when I was in high school, I was pretty decent at basketball, but I actually went by Deshaun, which is my middle name, and I like changed my name. And
your first name legally is Casper.
It's legally Casper, and I switched it to in school Deshaun because I was tired of getting made fun of.
Wow.
And I was like, but I don't really say that too often. I've said it to like people that had a conversation, but like, that was probably one of my like, that moment when I got to college and no one cared.
Yeah.
That helped a lot. Like no one was like, yeah, you get your couple people like, oh, your name's Casper, huh? But no one really as much cared, maybe because it's so much more intelligent people in college that don't like worry about certain things.
Right.
It's like, you know, whatever.
It's not like
you're not having your bullies in college.
Bullies,
yeah, you don't have your bullies in college as much, right?
Right.
But I think that when I wrote that project, I just looked back on a lot of that stuff and thought about like, man, why did I switch who I was or change up? Basically, if I change my name, I'm changing my identity. You know, like I've taken I was named after my grandpa. I took my grandpa's name away from me.
Wow.
And I didn't know that at the time because I learned that in college that I was named after my grandpa. So it was another thing I learned later in life. But thought about that when I was writing it. Things like that. It's like I took away who I am for the validation of others.
Wow.
Because I didn't want to be made fun of for who I am.
Yes.
So I'm going to change who I am so I make them happy.
Yes.
And that's not self-love. And so when I sat there and changed, I was like, man, I'm going to go out in this world and not care. Like, I'm going to be who I am. I'm going to move how I move. There's a lot of people who like when you start a business and being an entrepreneur, you get more doubters than supporters. Luckily, and still not luckily, I've been making music for so long, or I've been so consistent in pushing my art. So everyone, if you knew me from prior life, you know I make music, right?
Right. So
then you start seeing, oh, you do all these other ventures, and now it's to the point that I got so many people who know about my acting, who know about my poetry, who know about the business side of things, the clothing, and don't know I make music.
Right.
And it's interesting to me because I've always been known for music. Like that's the thing I'm known for, or like basketball a little bit in high school. You know, just like a couple like little pockets.
You're evolving.
I'm evolving, and I'm accepting who I am. And so to what? I think I was 22. It took me out of college to write that project, but I was coming into who I was in college. So I think that's why when people are like, oh, like, well, I don't think I want to go to college. And I was like, honestly, if you think that you don't want that education or school's not for you, that's cool. What college did with me, it did help educate me more. I was already smart, so I'm probably gonna end up finding some type of way of learning this information, some type of way, right?
Right.
But it really helped me learn myself and open myself up and be around different people and be around like-minded people. Mm-hmm. So it really helped me evolve. So I'm blessed and I'm happy I chose to go to college, and you know, it was definitely something that was promoted to me. My mom always said, you need to go to school. Like, I don't care what you do, keep your grades up and go to college. And you know, like now as a parent, I'm not gonna be as like, you need to, but I'm gonna say, here's your options. Yeah. You know, like I want to be an option giving parent while still being an authority. Mm-hmm. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I don't have kids.
You figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
You figure it out as you go. You do. That's interesting, man. That's really that's insightful, because you're, especially in your 20s, like you're trying to first of all figure out who you are, and then once you do kind of figure out and gravitate towards something, you're trying to stand on that and be confident. Yeah. While the people that maybe come against that. Yeah. We started a business called Books and Circle years ago out of college. It was a terrible idea. Bad name. Tyler, you knew it was bad. We tried our best, but it was not a great thing. But we just latched onto it and tried it, and it failed. And then so it's like after the bomb goes off and you fail your business and you lose the money and you go back to the regular world, it's like, okay, what do you do now? I have a failure, and now I want to be an entrepreneur, but I failed at this. So I know I want to go into business by myself and do this stuff, but how do you overcome people thinking, oh, you already failed at this one back here, so how are you going to do it over here? It takes a lot of self-love, self-commitment, and resolve to fight past the negativity. Yes. Because you're absolutely right that a lot of people will just instantly think this is going to be a failure. Yeah. It's easy to default to that. Yeah. Until you make it, and they're like, oh, I believe in you the whole time.
Oh man, you don't even. I think that for me, just from my artistry, and I'm saying I've been getting this since I was 16, 17. The "don't forget me when you're famous" idea, right? Like I always get the "don't forget me when you're famous," but like you know, like I just don't like that saying, because if you feel like that towards me and you know me, then you know I'm not gonna forget you, whatever that is, right? So that just annoys me, and I also don't like it's encouraging, but it's not encouraging. I don't like man, you're gonna be somebody, you're gonna go somewhere. Like, am I not going somewhere now? Am I not somebody now? I don't really like those. I don't think that those are actually positive things to say to people.
You'll make it when you hit X.
Yeah. Because
and right now you're not.
And so you're not right here in my mind. So you haven't made it, right? Yeah. Now I'm trying. Like, I don't want to. Sometimes I don't really respond a lot to negative things or weird things on social media, but sometimes I want to say things so I can adjust someone's mindset a little bit, or see if they just see my point. So when someone does say something like, man, you're going to be blah, 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 and I'll be like, well, honestly, I feel very content in where I'm at. Like, I'm actually very happy. Like, I wake up every day, play 2K, and start working. And if I want to stop working, I can. And if I want to start working again, I can. I control my life.
Yes.
Now, obviously, the fans and the supporters and the buyers, they really control my life because they got to support it, right? I don't have anything without my supporters. Right. But at the same time, I get to control who I am. Like, I get to really move the way I want to. So I'm very content.
You're not punching the clock, but for someone else.
Very content in life. So it's like hard to explain that without sounding like an asshole. Yeah. You know?
I just found out recently, Casper, that money is not a massive driver for me.
That's nice.
It is. To be a millionaire or to have a fully funded retirement. Honestly, man, I've been thinking more and more. I've made good money in my life, and I've made a lot less money in my life. Right. I've had two different sides of the spectrum. I've owned a really nice house, and I've lived in my parents' basement. I've had both sides of the extreme. Right. And what I found out through living through both those processes, like in both those situations, is that I've just always wanted to owe nobody to anything to nobody.
Yeah.
I want to be debt free.
I'm right there with you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a lot of freedom found in not having debt and not having some extreme longing for like I made it when I hit $1 million.
Yeah.
Because you know what I'm saying? Like I want to have a successful business and I want to produce things that I want to solve a problem in the marketplace that people love the product. That's what I want to do.
So let me ask
money,
you.
yes, but.
So let me ask you, if we're speaking on, and not really like the love of money, let's talk about like just the idea. What number would you put on like having a comfortable life?
Yeah.
What's a comfortable number to be making in your opinion?
I think,
and obviously it differs because of where you live.
For sure. This is what I'd say. If we both had zero debt, I literally don't even care about my bank account.
No.
I really don't. I don't think there's a number that would make me super happy versus super sad. This is what I want. When I go to the store or when I go to take a trip or when I go do this, I'm not having to constantly look back at the bank account to say, can I afford this?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, very true.
That's true.
Where you want to be at.
And the debt factor is always a thing. When I'm going through Monmouth College and paying expensive college bills and all that stuff, it's like you're constantly spinning in a hamster wheel paying for bills. Right?
Oh, that's like, yes.
If you have extra money, you gotta pay off debt, and it's like, gosh, dude, this is so frustrating.
Yeah.
So I think the real comfort in my life is gonna be found when I have zero things to pay for. I have my things. Maybe if I had $50,000 in the bank in savings, in Bitcoin specifically.
God,
if I had $50,000 and I had no debt, I'd feel pretty dang good.
I respect that.
And if I had no debt, and if I owned a house, like if I had a house payment, whatever the case, I think it'd be okay. I don't think if I get to $1 million, Casper, I'm gonna be so much more extremely happy or satisfied.
Yeah.
Tell me about you.
I think that like, and I was like, when I was reassessing, I write my goals, and I've been doing this since like 2012 or 13. I write my goals out at the beginning of every year, not like on some resolution thing, but it just feels like it's just easy. Just me going into the social norms. I hate that, but just going into the social norms, like, all right, Gillette, January 1st, I'm gonna start my goals for the year.
Right.
And then, like, so every year I write them, and I wrote this year, and for the first time, I actually wrote down how much I wanted to make. I've never wrote that number down, right? And it was just because the reason why is because I want to understand. Maybe just have like something to like go towards as far as like my business feeling like I did something. And not for me personally, just not in my bank account. It was a business goal, right? Which is also, if you're trying to get investors, they want to know anyway.
Of course.
You know, so like, I gotta do that. But when I looked at that and had that idea, I thought about, well, do I want to be a millionaire? Do I want all that money? Like, it'd be dope. And at the same time, my goals is, like you said, like I want to be able to, I want to go take a trip. Go do it.
Yeah.
I want to go to the store and buy this. Okay, go do it. I want to go buy some nonsense. Okay, go do it. That's where I want to be at. And like trying to find that number, I think truly, I think that like $50,000 to $70,000 a year, depending on where you live. Once again, like if you're in a big city, it might go up a little bit.
Right.
But I think if you make about that much a year, you are able to. You're able to pay your bills. Sadly, I know, like we talked about the debt part. Yeah. But if you do have debt, as most Americans do, you're able to pay your bills, and you're able to have health insurance, and you're able to have these little. Because like what's sad is health insurance is actually a luxury in America.
Crazy. You're right.
Like I don't even. It is a luxury to be healthy. Like that's a luxury. Like what are we doing?
Let's talk about the intricacies of healthcare in America. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's interesting, dude. I think looking at my life now versus 2 years ago, I would have told you that making 6 figures a year was my absolute bottom line, and I had to be more than that to be happy, etc. That's a personal goal of mine. Right. Anymore, I think I just want to be free of the shackles of debt, and so that's cars being paid off. You have no obligations outside of what you're doing right now in the moment, and anything you basically charge to somebody, you get most of it back because you're not paying out a bunch of people for debt stuff. Yeah, that's an exciting time for me to get to. I paid off my student loans, fortunately, about 5 years after I graduated. Thank you.
Off clap for that.
Yes, thank you, sir. I was like 28, paid them off. I worked my butt off, butt off, and like almost every extra dollar, man, I put it towards the student loans. And so
Can't say this.
Dude, it's not fun.
It's not fun.
Because you have to literally sacrifice everything
Yeah.
to do it. But once I paid it off, it felt like the shackles had been removed.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's been gone. I can now spend $500 a month on whatever I want.
Yeah. Oof. You got me like, man, okay, all right. I got to go a little harder. I got paid them off before. I'm $20. I haven't paid mine off yet. So
it's a burden, dude.
It's a burden.
6% interest.
Yeah, I get it. I think, and that kind of goes back to what I was saying about like my kid going to college. Like that is probably the worst part of it is the debt.
Yeah.
I hope that they figure something out. I don't really care about the idea of like, oh, they're gonna pay all your student loans off. Student loan forgiveness. Dope.
Right.
Like I would love that. Who would cry about it?
Right.
I think there's always gonna be arguments because like for someone like you, who did what you were supposed to do, and you're like, oh, now they're giving forgiveness?
For real, bro.
like
you just give me that money in cash.
Yeah, like, can I get some of mine back? Like, so, like, I respect it. You know what I mean? But,
yes.
like, you did what you were supposed to do.
Yes.
So, that's what it is.
All right, we're going to switch it up, Casper.
All right.
I know you got a gift, and this is one of my favorite beats of all time.
You're going to try to make me rap right now.
Yes, dude. Are you kidding me?
I'm not even a rapper anymore at this point.
Well, we're gonna do it. Instrumental.
If you're rapping too, that's the only way it's happening.
No way. Are you ready? I'm gonna put on a beat, and you're just gonna spit to it. Can you hear that?
Oh, I can hear it.
Oh,
in
this
the
is
mic.
my favorite one. Casper Alexander on that beat.
I'm back at it again. Everybody talk, but they really been friends. We ain't never been friends, please don't say that. I'm getting money, I can drop it in my hat. Step back, okay, cool, yeah, I got it. You think you was that, but you really, not it. I am the man. Counting out my money while I'm counting up my plans and counting up these ends and everybody know where I'm at. I'm with Ben and you wanted to say that we ain't got it, but we been in. I don't really care what you say. Fuck that, I'ma go back what I say. Okay. Anyway, why you wanna say you liar? Why you really wanna tell me that you tighter? I just know I am a lion, a tiger. Well, wait, no. I guess I'm really roof tiger.
Bro!
I don't rap, dude.
That was ridiculous, dude.
I don't even rap.
Oh, dude.
I only did that for you.
Shout out Chris Goodman. There's a guy I used to work with back at Verizon. I'm gonna leave this beat just playing just in the Chris Goodman and I used to sit at Verizon when we had no customers. We used to play Drake beats and then rap to him like this. They were really bad. That was really good.
I was alright.
That was really good. Lion the Tiger.
I just throw that in there for you.
Come on.
Let me throw Roof Tiger in there one time. Let me end it off right. Freestyle is so interesting to me because my mind moves fast, but then you're just like, there's so much I gotta think about the next line. The next one. And I see some people that are like, dude, you are amazing at freestyling. So I never I'm more of like, I was like back in the day, there used to be like, we'd be at parties and everyone knew I was a rapper. So everybody would be rapping. Casper, you gotta rap. I'm like, nah, I'm not rapping. I'm over here trying to party. See what I'm doing, man? And then I'm like, oh, dang, I want to rap. Like, I want to get up and then we just rapping. Like, I think I was a lot better at freestyling when I actually did it a lot. I probably freestyle, honestly. I'm such a writer now. Yeah. Like, I'm so focused in on writing that I don't really sit and just freestyle, which is something, it's an art. It's a true art.
Speaking is an art.
Right. Some people can't even communicate properly.
Speaking is an art. And the brain to malfunction of rapping and the quick nature of a beat playing, and you got to think of what's coming from here and deliver out here and think of the next line. It is a skill set.
Yeah, that kind of felt good. Actually, I kind of jumped in like that. I'm not doing no more. No.
Dude, this has been so much fun, Casper.
It's fun, bro.
I respect you, man. I respect the grind you put on social media. I like your content.
I appreciate it.
I do. And the thing you've been doing with Dan Pitts up there, and is it Aurora, Joliet? It's kind of that area.
Is it Genesis? I am.
It's like the south.
It's Batavia.
Suburbs.
It's the Tri-Cities, and I literally know this because I did the jingle. Yes. I just can't think of all the city names, but Batavia is one of them. St. Charles, Batavia, and Geneva.
Yeah.
I had to put the video in my head and see the beginning.
Yes.
So getting to write a jingle, that was amazing, and that was another one of those things that happened during COVID where it was just like, oh wow, and I was like, this is actually something I enjoy. Yeah. And once again, COVID switched my whole mindset. I have the music business down in a different way. I always was pretty aware, but I just studied even harder. I was like, what am I missing? What can I do? So I really wanted to make sure I understood how to sit back and make residual money, passive money from music, and really understand that in different routes I can go. And a lot of artists don't know it. Like a lot of artists don't have their music registered properly. Pretty much even when, it was one of the favorite things I learned, even like I had learned a little bit but never got dug into it. I was just doing too much, being lazy, whatever you want to call it. But I used to you perform for free and you'd be like, man, like I should be getting paid. And then there'd be shows I get paid. And then I realized that you actually can, if you're at the right venue and the venue is registered with PRO, which would be a performance right organization, that when you perform there, you can go and go register your songs or put in your songs for that, and they will pay you out. The venue's supposed to pay out through that company. So it's not like every time it's used, right? So, but a lot of artists don't know that. And I mean, I'm not saying like I just knew everything at that point. I learned that about 4 years ago, I think, but I never sat down and did it because I just was always doing so much. And so I made sure like this year I focused. Like I was like, I don't care how long it takes. That was one of my conversations. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care if it suffers me from making more music. As long as I sit down and everything is legit. If I have to I'm writing up, make sure we were like trying to get the contracts out, things that we never really did. I want to make sure we're doing because A, we got to protect ourselves, and B, there's ways that we could have been making money that we missed out on. Like in high school, I don't think you could have actually did it. I don't really know all that at high school, but I had a song hit 100,000 plays on MySpace. Like if I would have really knew if we could have, I don't know if we could have or not, but if I knew how to register the song, if we could have got paid out on that, that would have been a decent little check. Nothing too crazy, but
it's something.
We didn't know. We were 16-year-olds trying to make music and getting love. And so we were lost in that. The ego was real, because we just felt like,
you're the man now.
I'm the man. Like, I'm making music and my city loves me and people just like, so I always look back at that, and now I'm just like, maybe like 4 years ago, I got a chance to do the same thing. I didn't have to work another job. I was working all music stuff. It was all entertainment stuff. I was throwing shows. I was working for a company called Innovative, helping them do the marketing and sales and promotion and distribution. And then I was also I was touring and making my own music and all that. So I was actually like making a good, decent income where I could like live off of it. And I was working a regular job. I didn't have to work that job, but I did, right? And I got real cocky about it. I was like, I'm the man, I'm feeling good. And guess what? The higher power took it all away.
Pride check. You
remember, this can be taken away at any time.
100%.
So this process now, I'm so humbly like remembering, like stay humble, like you're blessed. And like I say it a lot as a truth, like I really feel so blessed to be able to do what I love to do.
Pride is a beast, man. Pride is a beast. Yes. And you got to approach it like that. You got to take out the pride, because if you don't watch it, it can consume you. I know last summer when I was really creating a lot of stuff, and I got some really good feedback on some of it. I'm like, but then it quickly became something that it turned something that was good into something that was not good. Because the love of it was too strong. Well, dude, I wish you sincere success in the industry.
We knocked about an hour and a half out.
Come on, dude, this was a fluid conversation.
I love it. It felt natural.
Felt natural.
Love it.
You got love down here in Peoria. This is where you're from. This is where I stay. You're from up there. So next time I come up, I'll spit a beat on your podcast.
Oh, goodness. Okay? Oh, goodness.
No, but I'd love to get together with you and Dan and do something collaborative, because us Monmouth kids got to stick together, and us young entrepreneurs got to stick together. That's what I see with us three. Shout out to Ed Wimp down there in Florida as well. You know Ed?
No, I don't. I actually did I have my
Gmail for his company?
No, I haven't, not yet.
Okay.
But but that's funny. But I did have my like Casper Consulting Live. I would do like a Facebook Live, and I brought him on, and it was really cool because we got to talk the music business and talk about the lawyer side of it,
of course,
and got to teach that to people. And you know, those who got to catch it, everyone messaged me that got to catch the information and was like, "Dude, thank you."
It's awesome.
You know, so
it's like really informative on what you need to do.
Yeah. So I think from on my end, like the last mindset to put out is just don't worry about the numbers. Worry about the impact.
Mm-hmm.
So if you only get 100 views, worry about those 100 people who actually like maybe only 40 or 20 or 10 of them really got what you wanted out there and got what your message was. But that's the point. Focus on that. Don't focus on that 100 number. Focus on the impact you just made on those 10 people.
That's super good.
That's how I've been living my life, and I feel like I'm going to continually do that. And so if the numbers ever go to millions, if they're only in the 100,000s, if they're in the 10Ks, if they're only at 2, I'm always going to like keep that consistently in my mind.
I love that.
So that's the information I can end off on.
I like that attitude a lot, man. That's so good. Tiger Dead Podcast signing off. Casper Alexander. It's been an absolute pleasure, man.
Thanks, man. Make sure y'all follow me on social media, CHI Songwriter on all platforms. You can stream my music with the exact same way. CHI Songwriter, CHI Songwriter. Much love, Ben.
Peace, bro.
It's always great.
That's
a blooper.
Tiger Podcast, and we out.